Alrighty, welcome to week 3 of this Pokepals Draft League. I, unfortunately, when we went to go start playing this game, my PC was freaking out, and then it needed to update, which was super cool. So I did not get the chance to record this myself and, live commentate it. So I'm going over my opponent's POV now, and we'll see how it goes. It is funny because I know how this game is going to go, but I can also go through what was going through my mind while we were playing. But yeah, with that said, we're gonna skip a little bit ahead to the teams. So I brought the Kingambit Sableye, Mega Dragonite, Mega Pyroar, Ninetales, Quaquaval. Now I obviously have Sun mode here. Sableye still has Rain Dance. There is like a Hurricane Rain mode happening here on the other side. So I was very happy finding it kind of as an option in the builder. I honestly, now looking at the 6 he brought, I feel like I don't remember specifically why I needed both the Rain and the Sun mode, but it was cool. It functioned. Especially just being able to lead different things. I think part of it was definitely... Oh, no, you know what? He had a Torkoal. I was afraid of. I was afraid of getting a Trick Room up and Torkoal just running through, so that's why I had Rain Dance in my Sableye. And then if he didn't have any, explicitly anti-Sun stuff, then my Sun mode can still just go crazy. Kommo-o was a Pokemon on his side I was by far the most concerned with. And so I also have Encore Disable on my Sableye, so as to not let it set up, or just Encore it into setting up permanently, or disabling its Dragon type move, so Dragonite can actually deal with it better, disabling its Fighting type move, so Kingambit can actually deal with it better. My Encore Disable Sableye was really, really primarily so I had any answer to Kommo-o. Other than that, my best answer is this Dragonite, and just kind of hitting it really hard with Kingambit, who I think has Zen Headbutt, or hitting it really hard with just close combat from Quaquaval. I didn't put Brave Bird on it this week, if memory serves, which honestly maybe I could have in hindsight. But yeah, he has this Raichu, Mega Aggron, Kommo-o, Conkeldurr, Tinkaton, and Oranguru. So frankly, the Oranguru doesn't concern me that extremely bad without the Torkoal, but I do still have, I forget if it ended up being Taunt or Roar on one of my Sun modes, on one of the Sun pieces. I think it was Roar on Ninetales. Yeah, as you see here, he's going to lead this Raichu Kommo-o. I'm going to let you know, he does go for the setup stuff, so stuff does get pretty funny, can't lie. And then, I think it is that Tinkaton. As soon as we see this locked in, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit to start to turn 1 here. With that Tinkaton. So Raichu Kommo-o in front of Quaquaval Sableye. Now, this lead honestly can work for either the Rain or the Sun mode, so it doesn't really tell my opponent too much. The Rain Dance on the Raichu is very, very good tech for my Rain mode. I do eventually see all 4 of these moves, but I don't even think in this game, maybe. I was surprised the first time I looked at the 3-play that it was Dragon Pulse over the Clanger Scales, but I can understand it. It's more single target damage. I don't know specifically what they might have needed the calcs for, but obviously they do have this very threatening Clanger Soul set up for me. And yeah, I just protect Quaquaval this first turn. I kind of overpredict in that I was hoping that Raichu would go for the Fake Out, and then I would Encore it into the Fake Out. But again, I have Encore Disable, Quash, I don't think I mentioned, and Rain Dance. So I have no attacking moves on this Sableye. I kind of didn't have much else to be doing. So I do reveal Encore without getting anything actually done. But I'm still able to Encore this Kommo-o either into the Clanger Soul, or if it wants to protect, or if it wants to switch out, so it wastes that turn. The Encore is still pretty easy. Raichu, we see just locking back into that Nuzzle, being smarter than letting itself get completely shut down by an Encore. I don't really want to let my Quaquaval get paralyzed. I believe I also was a Sash Quaquaval this week, which is probably why I didn't have Brayburn, actually. I should have looked at my team again real quick. I remember it mostly. We do see that Protect from Kommo-o. Encore, again, not doing anything. I really just, in my mind, could not let that guy start swinging with those boosts. King Gambit does just take the Nuzzle. It does get paralyzed. It was already the slowest thing. It was a bulkier, slower one in case they did want to bring their Trick Room mode. And then I have Quash on Sableye to make up for my lack of other speed control. He doesn't want to press Electro Web here, which is super valid, but I think I was Supreme Overlord this week. And yeah, I mean, he's gonna want to press Aura Sphere here, but my Sableye, like I said, was designed to have an answer into this Kommo-o. Like, in my mind, I do not have another option other than just continuing to press Encore into this thing and slowing it down, because otherwise it is such an insanely huge threat for my team. But also, I should say from my side, revealing the King Gambit, it's almost certainly not going to be that Mega Pyroar or Ninetales in the back. That's almost certainly going to be this Mega Dragonite. So this is my rain mode in game 1. I forget if it does get set up eventually, but I think I just set up Rain Dance in a turn I truly don't have much else to do on Sableye, because again, it's Encore Disable Quash and then Rain Dance. So turn 1, I think there were a couple other turns where Sableye didn't have much to do on the turn, but it was still much better to just keep Sableye on the field for the following turns, and it just ends up pressing weird buttons. Yeah, so this is the Rain Dance. It also does set up for this Quaquaval Aqua Step to hit a little bit harder. Tinkaton just goes for the Brick Break. Not gonna be able to cheese it with a Fake Out or anything. But we see Brick Break doing 23% to Quaquaval. Maybe that's a 4-ko with rolls. Sableye's immune to Brick Break. We know it is a fairy type that can have Play Rough. You wanna bet which move does Sableye's pressing into Tinkaton? And one more turn of Encore on Kommo-o, so things are perfectly stacked to Encore Tinkaton, and then be able to continue Encoring this Kommo-o. And the Sableye is doing a phenomenal job of just not letting my opponent do what they want to. I'm just locked into that Protect. I was personally kind of surprised how long they just let this Kommo-o stay in. I suppose part of the idea is that if they can eventually get rid of the Sableye, the Kommo-o can continue to do what it wants to. But again, they're also just targeting the partner spot. They targeted Nuzzle into King Gambit, they targeted Brick Break, and the second Play Rough into the Quaquaval. And if they don't take out the Sableye, Kommo-o does not get to keep doing anything. Now, Tinkaton kind of recognizes here being locked into the Brick Break is not ideal. Again, it did less than before the Quaquaval, so that is almost certainly a 5-shot. And Quaquaval now is just gonna keep trying to press Aqua Step in Rain. Pick up some speed boost, pick up some Moxie boost, become a raid boss. Quaquaval has been one of my favorite Pokemon in the draft. I obviously drafted it knowing it was going to be pretty strong, but for, I think, the 8 points I got it for, it has been putting in monstrous amounts of work. King Gambit and Mega Dragonite for 20 and either 19 or 18 points Mega Dragonite was, they make sense that they're putting in a ton of work. Quaquaval is on their level almost, and for 8 points has been so insane. So Kommo-o here does just get locked back into Protecting. Raichu gets put to Sash. I'm not convinced that crit mattered in Rain, but honestly with Sash, I don't know how much it matters in general. And I know it has Nuzzle at this point, but I haven't seen any other ability. I don't remember this turn so explicitly, but I would probably just Aqua Step and Quash in hindsight. So we do see it go for the Fake Out, which means it does have an ability to get Encore. But I think they also recognize they don't want to... Or, I'm probably not going to just be pressing Encore into it again, because that didn't go well for me in turn 1. Yeah, this is the turn I was talking about, where Sableye felt like it didn't really have much to do, and so I just wanted to keep it on the field and not waste more of the Encore or Disable PP, because I actually was spamming Encore a lot. I remember getting genuinely concerned about my Encore PP by the end of the game. I think I only had like 1 or 2 left. And now, you know, it's not a perfect way to protect this Quaquaval from both the electric moves and the fairy moves. I opt to just Encore this Raichu into Fake Out, and I'm pretty sure I'm swinging into the Tinkaton here. This does not pick up, but I have Raichu Encored on the field, 1 HP. Tinkaton is extremely chipped. Sableye is untouched. Kommo-o has taken the small bit it did from its own setup, but then it also got a lot of leftovers healing. Rain subsides, which is a little sad for the Dragonite that I'm pretty sure has Hurricane, but this still just looks like such a free turn for Dragonite to switch in. I remember not being so sure whether I wanted to like Hurricane or, oh, I have Hydro Pump on this Dragonite as well, into the Tinkaton slot, because I wasn't worried about the Raichu slot, but I didn't want to, like, I wasn't sure if Hurricane would pick up or not. Usually the player F launched into Dragonite, which does have a multi-scale, which is a phenomenal defensive tool. Definitely allows me to just damage trade very positively, which I think has been a huge help in the draft league. And I've kind of been obsessed with their speed on the special Dragonites, but like I said, I believe it was Dragon Pulse Hurricane Hydro Pump this week. Shiny Mega Dragonite is so awesome as well. Like, retaining that really nice blue. And then we see the first disable. So it went in for Play Rough in front of Quaquaval, and then it's not able to Play Rough either the Dragon or Dark type that it really would want to. So I did opt to just try to pick that Raichu up here, or, you know, catch the Kommo-o on the switch in. I'm pretty happy seeing that damage into the Aggron. You know, everything is just kind of loosened up enough for Dragonite and King Gambit to continue sweeping the end game here. I honestly am not 100%. Well, no. The reason to not Mega Evolve your Aggron here would be because you retain the Rock typing, and so even with the stat boost, the Head Smash is going to do more damage as base Aggron. So that's what I think you're going for here. I'll tell you, we don't get to see that Aggron soon. We just set up the Rain Dance. And we do just risk the Hydro. And I think even as Mega, that was probably picking up. It's not super effective, but it is still a Hydro Pump in the Rain. So I'm not sure. In the moment, I was very surprised he didn't Mega Evolve. I think watching his POV, it makes a lot more sense, knowing the button he clicked. But I think there was a chance of surviving that move as Mega. I don't know. I think probably not. But yeah, absolutely zero chance as base Aggron. Now we have the Fake Out and Setup back available, so he's not in like a completely horrible spot. But, you know, everything is chipped. Kommo-o is dying to a Hurricane. And I was kind of worried about the Dragon Resist Berry on Kommo-o, which is part of why I really wanted this Hurricane mode. Obviously we know it's leftovers, so Dragon Pulse is like just as fine. But like I said, I wasn't 100% sure. Tinkaton comes back in. I do just protect. I didn't want my multi-scale to be broken by Fake Out, but with a very good switch into Tinkaton, he still has the ability to do that. And then the E-Webs, knowing better than to just downput in the Fake Out. Pretty smart, but again, this is the first damage Sableye has taken this game. Sableye has been an issue, but he's also just targeted the partners down, which I don't think has entirely helped. Yeah, no fake out from Tinkaton. Does not want to get encored into that fake out. But Sableye just goes for disable. In my mind, if that Tinkaton did go for the fake out, I just get to encore it the turn after. And I'd rather not let it continue to webs. Because right now my Dragonite is outspeeding the Kommo-o, but it wouldn't let my speed. We do see the Hurricane just for a pickup. Like I said, I was kind of concerned about it. Not like extremely, I obviously launched the button. But I didn't want to keep risking Hydro Pump miss chances when I didn't have to. So I'm very happy the one connected, but if I could avoid pressing that button at all costs, that is ideal. And now Raichu's disabled. It is able to get encored, and Kommo-o is in a pretty rough spot. I might have gone for Quash here, to be honest. Quash into Raichu. No, I do just not let this Raichu do anything else. It's encored into its disabled move, which is just such a silly little thing. Yep, and Hurricane picks up Kommo-o. And then I believe it's Quash and with like Dragon Pulse and Hurricane to just pick up this Raichu. Not really struggle, so Dragonite gets the extra KO here. So Sableye was undoubtedly the MVP of this game, but it just sat on the field and pressed the buttons every turn. Like that's where, like, when I tried to set Rain Dance in the rain, exactly what I was talking about at the beginning, where I just wanted to keep Sableye on the field, like being annoyed the whole time. And the only damage I ever took was the E-Ray. So not that it would have been easy for my opponent to take up the Sableye while it was doing everything it was. And it was Roselie for the one time the Play Rough went off into that Quaquaval. But again, like the Play Rough went off into the Quaquaval versus the Sableye. And it could have been a nuzzle way earlier in the game on the Sableye, giving me at least like a chance to not move. Like it definitely wasn't. I don't think my opponent played poorly. I don't think that was a very easy game, but I think they definitely needed to try to get that Sableye off the field earlier, because as we saw, it was just a complete menace for them. Now for game 2. Also of note, because it didn't come up in game 1, but I am going to bring my Sun mode to game 2. Akaberry Tinkaton for the Sun mode is a very interesting tech. The Conkeldurr also has Wide Guard. It's going to come out in this game. And then I think it's still the Kommo-o Raichu. I forget the exact lead here, but it's definitely Raichu, Kommo-o, Conkeldurr, Tinkaton here from my opponent, from Zach, from LittlePotato. Yeah, so we did the Tinkaton Raichu, Kommo-o, Conkeldurr, which wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I was still kind of expecting a Kommo-o lead, but I can extremely understand how the Sableye scared them off of that. But hard switching into my Sun mode, this is a great lead for me. Obviously the Akaberry and Focus Sash are going to make it so that I don't actually get to just pick up free one-shots with Pyroar's Heat Wave. And this Raichu does have Rain Dance, which I think does become relevant at one point. But for me, I can tell you I was extremely happy when I saw this lead go out in game 1. Yeah, faking out the Ninetales and pressing the Rain Dance. Pretty valid. I believe Mega Pyro is still outspeeding that Raichu. I get the Sableye in. I kind of know that they both have Fake Out, and if he wants to Fake Out, then it doesn't look like there's that active threat of Sableye. I just want to get that Sableye back in as soon as I can. But I do just protect him from the Fake Out, which I think is extremely fair. I don't think I needed to over-predict like who the Fake Out was going into. But this Rain Dance obviously is going to slow down my Mega Pyroar much more than I would have wanted. Now I'm in an interesting spot here, where I could Encore the Raichu into Rain Dance to keep it from doing things, or I could Encore the Tinkaton into Fake Out to keep it from doing things. It's not a Dragonite in the back. I don't think it's Quaquaval. I think it's King Gambit in the back here. So even though I did think I like that turn 1 a lot, their rain dance tech on Raichu has made this a lot more awkward now. So I know Sableye's pressing Encore. I remember it being such a debate. I think Pyro goes into Gambit here, but we shall see in just a moment. You can tell that was me debating. No, just go back into Ninetales. Definitely not Encoring to the Raichu then. Just the hard disable into Raichu. That makes sense. I still have Heat Wave on my Ninetales. And Ninetales, even though it is not Mega Pyro levels of damage, it is still pretty decent damage. And it is like probably my least important Pokemon in my mind to be getting paralyzed. King Gambit isn't that bad either, but I like need it to be swinging 100% of the time it's swinging. Even that small chance to not is gonna feel pretty brutal to me. Roselia Berry activates on Sableye. Doesn't prevent it from being a 2-ko, but notably for me, that wasn't of one shot regardless. So now, opponent definitely with some PTSD from the Sableye game 1, knows it can get Encore disabled into anything, and yeah, he's gonna switch out that thing get done. Gonna press E-Webs. I know this turn was disgusting. I got very, very lucky here. Electro Web is a 95% accurate move, and if Pyroar takes the Electro Web, it's going to be slower than the Kommo-o, but it avoids the Electro Web, so now my Pyroar is still able to press Heat Wave at the speed it wants to, namely faster than Kommo-o, and this Heat Wave picks up not one burn on the Kommo-o, but a second burn on the Raichu. Like this, that turn was silly. That turn was extremely lucky, like no question about it. Being able to take away the Kommo-o's leftovers and avoiding the speed drop on the Pyroar gives me way more tempo here than I just said. Because if I got speed dropped by the Raichu, I would have to actually respect the Aura Sphere from the Kommo-o, and Raichu could continue pressing Rain Dance faster than my, or no, that's the same, but it could still nuzzle the Pyroar and just be like even more annoying. But instead, I just get to press 2 Heat Waves here. Because even though it's resisted into Kommo-o, Pyroar does so much damage, and it's still faster than Raichu. Yeah, so I just get to press Heat Wave on Pyroar. I want to say Ninetales actually gets fully paralyzed here, but that does not even out the playing field in my mind at all. I can't lie, I think it still probably should have been an Aura Sphere into the Pyroar, but he's just in a tough spot after the Electro Web's missed, and then the double burn, so he can't even really like try to continue stalling out the, or like 4 leftovers healing. Now here, I don't know precisely what is happening with the Clanger's Soul, which cuts your HP in a third, and 45 is definitely less than 53. But the Wide Guard from Kekelder is a pretty smart play. But again, I am actually aware of it as an option, and I do not fall victim for the Wide Guard. So it just ends up being pretty rough. Actually, do I? I remember debating it. I think I do press Heat Wave here. You go into Sableye, Encore disable stuff. No, I just protect. Yeah. I think I remember being aware of it, but I just opted to play safe since I knew I had such a strong lead at this point in the game. And then I can like disable that Aura Sphere if they went for it. I can disable the Wide Guard now if I really wanted to. But like I said, specifically because I took away the leftovers, they were not at the HP to set up their Clanger's Soul. If they didn't get burned, they would have been able to. And that really good. The E-Web's miss into double birding on that Ninetales Heat Wave was completely disgusting. Like can't say anything else about that. Like, I did not deserve to have the amount of tempo I did. Here I just opt to keep that Kommo-o kind of not doing anything. Like I do have overheat for that potential wide guard. I just launch it into King Caliber. I could have Encore King Caliber into wide guard and then overheat on Kommo-o. But it would have picked up. I don't know. I think both are completely fine. This is obviously just a play I opted for. Maybe there's a more correct version of them. I suppose now I can start keeping is probably my thought. Probably my thought in the moment. Even at -2 with Kommo-o so chipped and it being a steel type, I think I definitely just go for the heat wave here. Like, I know the Tinkaton has Brick Break. The Gigaton Hammer is only balanced because of the low attack stat. So unfortunately, like, the Brick Break is still just not going to do that much. Yeah, with Akaberry and at -2, that Tinkaton takes a heat wave far better than anybody would ever expect. And yeah, Brick Break is still a 3-shot on Pyroar. So even though I am -2, I do kind of have free range to just continue pressing the heat wave on Mega Pyroar. I'm slowly chipping down with Kommo-o and Tinkaton. Although I feel like I remember that Pyroar dying at one point. Tinkaton also just can't damage the Sableye with Encore. And I could Encore the Sableye so they can get it in the back. Oh no, Pyro doesn't die. I think I switch it out here. So now I'm at -4. Now the damage is really not going to do much to Kommo-o. And I know the King Gambit has Zen Headbutt in the back. So it's going to be a King Gambit switch and then quash the Kommo-o. And yeah, Encore, King Gambit switch, quash, Zen Headbutt. Which is funny, my opponent gave me a little bit of flack for this play after the game, specifically because it allowed Kommo-o, or King Gambit, to push ahead of Kommo-o in the KO leaderboard, which is not where my mind was at in the moment. It purely was at, I think these two turns was the fastest way to end the game, versus trying to continue pressing Heat Wave and Overheat at -4 into the Kommo-o, and Sun was about to run out, and the moves have a mischance, where I knew I just had like a guaranteed 2-turn line with Encore, keeping it into Clanger Soul, and then King Gambit does have Zen Headbutt very specifically for this Kommo-o. And yeah, we get the quash just like King Gambit goes next. And the Zen Headbutt to finish it. So a very, very nice 2-0 from us. Like, the fact that we 4-0'd game 2 was entirely off of that Electro Web's double burn turn. Like, game 2 had every right to have been a lot closer than it ended up being. I have to admit that, no doubt. But still, we are 3-0 at this point in the draft league, with 2 of those being 2-0 weeks. So I'm very happy with how this is going at this moment.